3 years ago now, I installed 20 of these Siedinlar solar LED driveway lights. So after 3 years, how well are these lights holding up? And do they have any issues? Well, that's what we're going to get into in today's video. Now to start, my driveway gets very dark. I live back in the woods and my driveway makes a bit of a hook. So trying to back a vehicle up this driveway at night can be very challenging. Since I've added these lights, it has made that job so much easier and safer. These lights basically mimic the purpose of landing lights on an airport runway. You know, if you've ever been to an airport at night, notice on the edges of the runway, they have those really bright lights that help to guide the planes in as they land. These lights basically do the same thing, except you don't have to run any of the wiring. Now, that's not to say that they haven't had a few small quirks here and there. So I remember when I installed these lights, the instructions stated that you should replace the AAA rechargeable battery once a year. 3 years in, I have not replaced any of the batteries. So to me, it's not a big surprise that a few of them are out. I'm just not sure what I'm gonna find. Are we gonna find water intrusion, or is it just gonna be a simple battery issue? And hopefully replacing the rechargeable battery will get us back up and going again. So to recap, of the 20 lights I've installed, 3 of them are no longer functioning due to an electronic issue. Again, hopefully that is the battery. Aside from that, of the 20 I've installed, 2 of them have cracked. There's one outside that is currently cracked, and I have one inside that is cracked as well. When I say cracked, I'm referring to the aluminum case. You know, if you get enough heavy delivery trucks running over these lights, unfortunately, the aluminum case will crack. Additionally, in my initial video, I wasn't extremely clear with the details as to how I fasten these lights onto the driveway. So towards the end of today's video, when I go out to reinstall some of these lights, I'm gonna go over the process in detail. We're gonna go over these screws I use, Tapcon screw size. We're gonna talk about the bit size and just go over the whole process on how I go about fastening these lights down to an asphalt driveway. So without further ado, let's go outside, let's unfasten the damaged lights and see if we can't get them fixed up. So last night I came out at night and I marked all the lights that are no longer functioning with blue tape. This light is at the top right corner of the driveway, so this light gets driven over the most. And I mean, it clearly shows. The case is cracked here, it's cracked here. Like the aluminum case is almost about ready to fall apart. I'm noticing that there's a hairline crack here, here, and here. But I mean, if this is getting driven over by a delivery truck once a day, you know, 3 years later, I don't know, what do you expect from an aluminum housed light? So let's unfasten this from the driveway, take it inside and see what the inside looks like. See, it's loosened up some too. The second light that's not functioning appears to be dry on the inside. We're missing a screw on one side. There's another small crack in the case right here. Kind of odd how these screws loosened up. I guess with the Tapcon screws, you know, you get enough cars driving over these and turning over them, I guess the screws are going to slowly bend and pull out. So it's not a perfect method, but you know, if you got to go around and refasten these lights once a year, I don't think that's a huge deal. Additionally, where I have this light mounted, it's on the edge of the driveway and the pavement kind of slopes down, so there's a little bit of rock. You know, ideally, if your pavement's flat, you're not really going to have this issue as much as I do, but I'm trying to get the most out of the width of the driveway, so. Looks like I whacked this light pretty good with the snowblower last winter. But hey, the case isn't cracked. But again, with this one, the screw is loosened up as well due to the slope on the driveway, so I'm going to have to go around and tighten all these up. Of the 4 lights I just brought in that are no longer functional, this one appears to be in the best condition. Lens, few scratches but no cracks. I don't see any condensation inside the lens. The aluminum case doesn't appear to be cracked. So this light appears to be in good condition. Now when I cover the light sensor, the light does not come on. This one is no longer functioning. We're going to see if we can get that fixed, but how a proper functioning light should work, you cover that light sensor and the light should turn on. So there's some type of issue with this light. So let's take it apart and see if we can't find anything. To me, it looks like we just have a faulty battery, so let's try the easy thing first. Let's replace the battery and see if that fixes our issue. The batteries included with these lights claim to be 500 mAh. The ones I'm putting in claim to be 1100 mAh. So these, in theory, should hold the charge longer, but I'm not sure if anybody really checks these battery manufacturers are being honest. That's functioning just fine now, so I think this light is good to go. So the second light, you know, it's trying. I'm going to say it's a bad battery, so I'm going to replace the battery. So I'm still working on light number 2. I replaced the battery, was still having the issue. What I've determined this particular issue to be is a faulty on-off switch, which I don't think there's really a purpose for an on-off switch. Obviously, you'd want this light on all the time. Why would you want to turn it off? But let's cover the solar panel to simulate darkness, and now I'm going to grab this board with this simple on-off switch. I'm going to wiggle this around. You could see that there's some type of issue with this on-off switch. Now I could shut it off. You'll hear the click. That's off, and now it definitely won't come on. We push the button in, turn the switch on. It's on, but if I play around with this switch a little bit, we're having that issue. So I think I'm just going to cut this switch out of here and jump these two wires together. Light number 2 is now fixed. Light number 3. Start with the battery. New battery, working fine now. Just a bad battery, seems like. Light number 3, repaired. So where are we at? Well, this is light number 4, first light we removed, and there are condensation issues inside this lens, and it has the cracks in the lens, so we are going to be taking light number 4 out of service. I just finished the brazing repair on light number 5, which has been out of service for some time, but with this repair and the electronics are in decent condition, I think we're going to be able to bring light number 5 back into service. So let's install a new battery into light number 5 and see if the electronics are okay. Yep. Yeah, this is looking good. So I think we're going to be able to bring light number 5 back into service just fine. So let's reassemble light number 5. Alright, let's see if Frankenlight can withstand being run over. Alright, let's see. Well, I don't see any cracks. Of course, I'm sure this case will split somewhere else over time, but for my first time brazing, I call that an adequate repair. You can see where I got a little too hot right here and started to melt the aluminum. But, you know, brazing's like life. It's a learning process. You get better as you go. Well, we've repaired as many lights as we can. This one, I don't think there's any saving this one. But anyway, it's time to start fastening these lights to the driveway. Now, how do I go about fastening these lights to the driveway? Well, I like to use these Tapcon screws. These are 3/16 by 1.25" Tapcon screws. In order to pre-drill into the pavement, you're going to need a masonry drill bit. This is a 5/32 drill bit, and that is what is called for these 3/16 fasteners. In addition to that, you are going to need some type of hammer drill. You know, just a traditional battery-operated drill with the hammer drill feature, as noted by the hammer, will work just fine. And then as for the driver, you know, these are hex head. You're going to need a 1/4" hex driver that I have installed on my driver. So let's go outside, line up where we want to put these lights, pre-drill the holes, and fasten them to the pavement. So if I want to install this light right here, I'm going to move it in towards the center of the driveway a little bit to try and prevent some of the rock. And you know, if you go towards the outer edge, I think this rock encourages the case to split. So I think it's a little bit better closer in. But you would simply take your 5/32 hammer bit drill, set your drill to hammer drill mode, start with one hole, and drill down. There's one hole. So what I would do from here is start one of these Tapcon screws in our hole. You know, not go down all the way, just get it kind of started. And from there we can ensure that this is perpendicular with the edge of our driveway. Figure out where we want to start our second hole, right here. Start drilling, move it out of the way, and proceed drilling. Alright, I have my second hole drilled. Take our Tapcon fastener, line up the new hole, and you want to gently tighten this down. You don't want to, you know, really crank it down. So I'm going to start this side, you know, just a little bit. That's all it needs. And that's how you fasten one of these solar lights to an asphalt driveway. I'd like to thank you for watching. As always, I will catch you on the next one.